In my opinion, there is only one fantasy title that could truly be loved by the historical community, and that is a Total War Mythologies. Imagine a game that has no era, but instead unites them all. Viking mythology battling Egyptian mythology, both at their peak. It would have that historical feel, because it would be inspired by history. Egyptian cultured looking units, Roman cultured looking units, and many more, each with a clearly well researched mythological backing of what the people believed at the time. This game must not go for the truth behind the myth approach, but instead should boast proudly that it is a mythological game, but with several historical elements and backing. The history will be found in the lower tier units. Peasants and militia is what we call them, but in this game that roster will be expanded on to just represent humans instead, the main backbone of your forces, battling the way they would historically. However, when it comes to their appearance, I think the devs can have a bit of fun. With a game like this, they do not need to be purely historical, but can begin to lean towards cultural stereotypes instead, such as Vikings with double-horned helmets, to be more recognisable. In later tiers of units, the mythologies get more involved, unlocking anything from minotaurs to sphinxes to dragons. The gods should be on the battlefield too, maybe even have the gods as being the different factions. Instead of Athens, Sparta and all that, have Zeus, Hades, Poseidon. This way the devs can be more creative, not limiting themselves to the usual map locations. Egypt could be divided into several different factions, each similar under the Egyptian culture, but with clear differences that are more than just basic start positions, to keep it fresh. Overall, that could really help with campaign balance. Speaking of the campaign map, I think the generic Europe, North Africa and Middle East would be a great starter, which could expand outwards in later DLC. Yes, DLC is of course needed, not going to get into this, but people need to make money. You know, it's going to happen. But back to the map. How accurate does this really have to be? When I imagine this world, this eraless world, I start to lean towards an Ice Age map. It is still recognisable, yet would have enough unique elements to make it stand out from what we are used to, and add a tier of interest for new players on their first time playing, as they wish to explore and discover this world. Quickly back to the historical side now, it could even do a good job at teaching history, but the inclusion of Gallic mythologies, Slavic mythologies, and the mythologies of the Middle Eastern cultures could add so much more of an educational value to younger players as well. This video is all over the place. This video may sound more like a ramble, but that's what this game would be. For the developers especially, the amount of potential is endless, which is why this video is such a mess, because I cannot condense an infinite amount of ideas into just one video. You know, I'm just trying to pick a few here and there and hope that it just floats. This has potential in a way we have never seen Total War do before. Historical titles are limited to history. Once you reach the point of all known history, you cannot really take it further if you want a purely historical game. Warhammer titles are limited to the Warhammer lore and Games Workshop, but this title has no limits. Anything can be done, which makes me believe a game like this could really shine and stand out forever. there's also no reason to really stop updating this game. The world can forever be expanded upon, either going deeper into factions or wider and including more of the world. A title like this could last 10 years and still receive updates that I think could still sell. Continue to expand, continue to optimize, and PCs will continue to develop and run the game at a faster speed. So it will start with Europe, North Africa and the Middle East, but after 10 years' time it will be the full world, yet probably run faster for most people, as they constantly try and perfect the game. Imagine if they added another world into the game as well. Let's say all factions had access to this ability, where you can collect things. Let's call them orbs of magic, and put them into certain areas of the map, like set ritual sites. They can then open up gateways into the underworld. The underworld would be a harsh, violent place, yet rewarding. Whoever gets there first would have a massive advantage. Maybe you could use it as a faster form of transport as well. Again, adding more depth, adding more layers of strategy, and just being something we've never seen before. Speaking of special mechanics, each faction should have their own also, like as we see in Warhammer and Troy. I am more familiar with the Greeks, so let's use them as the example. Imagine if you could have a quest that the Greek heroes could go on. Include the Titans maybe. Maybe have a search for Atlantis mechanic, or just have Atlantis as a faction. Surely at this point you can begin to see the true creative potential a game like this could have. We've not even scratched the surface here. We've gone in nowhere near as much depth as I do in other videos like this. I don't need to. Today I just wanted to talk about Total War Mythologies, prove that the overall potential is limitless, and point out how it could be loved by historical fans and fantasy fans alike. Maybe even enough to begin uniting the two communities, which was attempted with Three Kingdoms and Troy, yet both failed there for their own reasons. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you agree or disagree? As a historical fan, would you be interested or not? I personally don't see why not. It is history. The history of culture and mythology is still history, but of course I get it if you would say no. Subscribe for more, share this video with anyone you think would be interested in a title like this. I have been MELKOR, and until the next one, tomorrow's video, goodbye.